What's going on, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 9 of the Vegan as Fuck podcast. This podcast is a Third Eye Media production sponsored by Rise Kombucha and Vegan Nation. I'm your host, Donny. Today we have a very special guest in the house, owner and founder of one of my favorite vegan restaurants in the city, Lola Rosa. Eric, welcome to the show, brother.
Well, thanks for having me, buddy. It's been a pleasure. It's been a while since we said we'd do this.
Exactly.
So I'm happy I'm here finally.
I think we reached out to you in the early stages and saying we wanted you to be one of our first guests.
Yeah.
But I'm sure things have been busy for both sides.
Things have been quite hectic for most restaurateurs in Montreal,
Yes.
and Lola Rosa doesn't unfortunately make the exception. So
100%.
we're keeping busy, but we're staying optimistic as well.
That's
so that's all that
amazing.
matters, and we're lucky to. I feel lucky to have you and be able to promote my restaurant, veganism, and make it a little different. So I'm happy to be here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I think before we get into talking about Lola Rosa, and of course, which is an amazing restaurant, it's one of the first vegan restaurants, I believe, in Montreal. It's been around for quite some time.
We'll talk about this.
We'll talk about that. But I definitely want the listeners and the viewers to learn a little bit more about your personal journey, how you found vegan lifestyle and the whole mindset of it, and kind of where it all started for me. So take us back right from the beginning.
Okay.
Anything that has to do with it, let us know when it started.
Yeah. Well, vegan lifestyle came through Lola Rosa. It took a while. I was just telling you, my story a little bit, my personal story. So we're originally two business partners. That started it 16 years ago. It was 16 years on November 1st.
Okay.
I'm still partner with. He's still partners with me, and then we have another partner that was added to the team a year and a half, 2 years ago, which is our chef.
Okay.
How it happened was that Pascal and I, who's my business partner, the original one, the OG, we used to live together in a small 5.5 with another friend of ours on Dorion and Rachel. Anyways, he would go to a bakery every day, and this owner told him one day, I don't know if you're interested, but there's one of my friends selling her restaurants on Milton Street. So we went to have a look. It was already vegetarian back then.
Okay.
It was already called Lola Rosa back then. So we didn't found Lola Rosa or even came up with the name. That was something was done by someone before us. It was a woman with a personality bigger than life. I mean, her name was Camille. She was she vegetarian or vegan herself? I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
And she had named the restaurant after her stepmom or mother-in-law.
Okay.
And so when we went to visit the place, she asked us, she was like, the only thing I ask of you guys is if you keep the name.
Keep the name.
So we kept the name.
That's beautiful.
So that was the first thing. And then where we were going to keep it vegetarian or not, we weren't sure.
Yeah.
I was, dude.
At that point, so at this point you were
16 years ago.
16 years. So you were not a vegetarian at all.
27 years old.
Yeah.
I had meats at literally breakfast, lunch, and dinner. To the point where, and this is where I don't know if I should be saying that on camera, but I will anyway. The first 2 years, I would say, I wouldn't even eat the food from the restaurants.
Wow.
I would go to McDonald's, I would go to Subway, I would go to the Greek, I would go to the Lebanese place, and I would bring in some shawarma, some cheeseburgers, whatever, and I would eat that in my restaurants where customers were having vegetarian food.
That's crazy. So that's kind of, I guess at that point you didn't view vegetarian food as something that was appetizing to you.
Dude.
You kind of totally looked down upon it. But this was but you did have an interest in having a vegetarian restaurant. Because you were just buying over an existing business.
Exactly.
So at this point, it was just a transition of ownership, and that's kind of where you were at. Okay,
and then you realize that after 2 years of working hard, I was 27 years old back then, so I was still student age. So I was still McGill, ghetto, 27-year-old running a restaurant. I was still living a student life and everything. So long story made short, after 2 years of not making any money, working 78 hours a week, and not believing in what we're serving, my business partner and I had a very serious talk going, what are we doing? Do we keep going?
Yeah.
Do we sell the business? At a loss probably, because no one's going to want to, because we had lost a lot of the sales from the previous owner, who was the reason why Lola Rosa was so successful. Her personality would draw, literally crowds to the restaurant.
She had a relationship with the current
Exactly. So when we took over, we lost half the clientele.
Okay, but you kept her menu.
We kept the menu.
You kept the menu.
We kept the menu and everything.
I guess it was just
It was more basic, but it was we kept. I would say that nowadays the thing that's still on the menu that we served back then were the quesadilla that we changed a lot, the nachos, and the chili that we changed a lot too. Okay. Everything else we kind of and the Tunisian ragu as well.
Okay.
Everything else is our own recipes.
Yeah.
And so don't believe in vegetarianism, don't believe in the food, don't even like the food I serve.
Okay. Did you try eating a little bit?
I did.
And it just wasn't your thing.
That wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
And then so one day, I remember we were in conversation with Pascal. We went to that sushi place to discuss our future. Mm-hmm. And we go, what the fuck are we doing? And we said to ourselves, we need to find something that really motivates us to go to work besides making money or besides just
Yeah.
And we realized back then that the meat that we were eating was not ethical. Mm-hmm. And was not good quality. So said, you know what, we have to reduce our consumption of meat. Mm-hmm. And the only way we can do it is by appreciating the food that we serve in our restaurants.
Yes.
And that was our first mission, was to really reduce our consumption of meat.
Okay.
To be able to, when we eat it, eat the ethical one. And we'll go back to the ethical one now, because obviously it's
all the same.
Yeah. Exactly, but I didn't know
at that time.
Then,
no, a lot
16
of people,
years ago.
And that's what actually, just to touch upon that, that's what a lot of the people who are kind of still brainwashed to this day, they still think, like when they talk to vegans, they're like, well, what about the ethical meats on the small? That's the first thing they say. Like people still think that the ethical, quote unquote ethical, which there isn't one, people still believe there is some version of animal agriculture that's humane and ethical, and they think that's the one that's okay to eat. But obviously we'll get back to that.
Get back
we know
to
that's
that later.
Complete.
So we reworked the menu. We hired a new chef, and we made sure that everything we serve, I would love to eat it myself. That Pascal would love to eat it himself, and this is how it started.
Okay.
Fast forward 14 years later. 14 years later.
Yeah.
Where I realized that throughout all those years that now you're getting more and more. The thing is that once I realized that the meat was not raised but was produced. Okay, we're not talking about raising meats. This is not true. We don't raise cows. We produce meat. Those are two different concepts to me that I think people should know about.
Yeah.
And the impact on the environment, that was our number one fight, was like we can literally contribute to climate change, to fighting climate change, by something as simple as what we put on our plates every single fucking day.
100%.
So this is still to this day our fight, is to make people understand that whatever they put in our plates will have an impact on the environment.
Yes.
Why we took so long to turn, I call Lola Rosa PlantBased because again our number one mission is the environment. And some of the people involved directly with Lola Rosa are not vegan themselves. Yeah. And so, and we never hit it. Pascal never said he was vegan. Yeah. My other business partner never said he was vegan. Yeah. So that's why I feel bad sometimes saying we're vegan, we're not vegan, we're plant-based. Yeah. Am I vegan myself personally? Yes, I am.
And you're kind of the face.
To a certain extent.
A little bit, yeah. Not that you put your face out there so much, but
I hate doing this, but I do it because
now I put you on camera today.
But and actually the big move happened to me. I wouldn't be able to put a date on it. I hadn't eaten any animal produce for much longer before that. Yeah. But it was 2 years ago, in April 2 years ago, when I was in France, that I decided I had spent my entire vacation not touching any animal products.
It's amazing.
I was like, if I can go back to my own family and have them accept the fact that, why would I even go? And this is how I started now getting more and more into the animal ethics about of the cause for animals too. Okay. But this is something that took me 14 years to get there.
That's a crazy story. It's a crazy long journey.
It's a long journey.
That you had a vegetarian vegan restaurant for so many years, and the connection still took quite a while, but it did hit you eventually, and it came from an environmental standpoint, which is interesting also because I find with so many vegans, and you talk to them about how their journey started, some people will say health, some people will say the environment, some people will say the animals. Yeah, it's so many different reasons that people find this lifestyle and this mindset. Yeah. But I think in the end, eventually, we start learning about all of them. Yeah. And then we kind of resonate with all.
100%.
But that's amazing. So it's about 2 years now that you have started your personal plant-based vegan journey. That's great.
So I still own leather that I still wear. I think this is one. Sorry, but this is one of them. I'm not gonna change it for now. This is
you own some old leather.
So all those things. The fur I had. A funny story again. So the first year we did the Vegan Fest festival in Montreal. Yeah. Lola Rosa had a booth there, and I walk in, Dude, with my pajar jacket and fur all around it.
Wait, hold on. You walked into a vegan festival
as Lola Rosa owner,
yeah,
with fucking fur on my thing.
How many years ago was this now?
I was the first year of Vegan Fest, so it was probably 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
6 years, I would say 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
And you had no clue when you bought that jacket that
no,
an animal died for that.
It was
for a
my
trim.
sister who bought it for me.
Yeah, someone bought it for you.
Yeah,
exactly.
someone bought it for me.
Yeah.
I honestly believed that it was no real fur on it.
You didn't even think it was real.
I didn't even like. I was like, who would put real fur on a pajar jacket?
On a trim,
you know?
yeah, on a hood trim.
It didn't seem to me like very logical.
Yeah.
Till an employee of mine, as I'm walking in, goes like, "Oh, there's a big no-no here." I was like, "What?" It's like, "Your fur." I was like, "What do you mean my fur?" It's like, "Yeah, this is real fur." It's like, "No, this is not real fur." I was like, I'm looking at her and this is all real fur. Yeah. Then an older lady, so I'm walking around, so my jacket's behind the booth, and an older lady comes up to me. And she goes, "Oh, I love your restaurant. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And I would love it even more if you get rid of your fur." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
I love
she
that.
goes like, "Yeah, the fur in your collar, your trim is actually a real fur." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And all she had to do with me was say, "You know, the suffering behind your fur."
Yeah.
It didn't take me a minute to zip it off and never wear it again.
100%.
Okay?
When she make that connection.
She made it, she used the right tone and the right approach with me.
Yeah.
I'm a very, dude, and I can say that to the camera, I believe that every human being is selfish.
Yeah.
And I'm a real example of it. I'm a selfish person. Everything I do, I'll do it because it will be for my nephew or nieces.
Yeah.
And I'll do it because it serves a personal purpose.
It
and
benefits
right now,
you.
the reason why I turned vegan, because I couldn't look at myself and say, now with all the options available, with all the alternatives available, and the fact that you don't have to sacrifice anything to eat the exact same quality of food, if sometimes even better.
Yes, definitely.
Why would you go and fucking like be the cause of a suffering or whatever?
Yeah.
This is the, but that took me 14 years to get there.
It's okay.
And
You're here now.
I wish I'd done it before,
Yeah.
but I don't regret not doing before because it's my journey.
That's right.
I own it, and the decision came from me. It didn't come from shaming, it didn't come from people making me feel about my diet. It came from like, look at those videos. I watched first the Conspiracy.
Conspiracy, yeah.
That was the first one that really is like, I'm in the right business. I'm doing it for the right reasons, you know? And then from Conspiracy, you have others.
Yeah.
I couldn't go through Earthlings. I watched 5 minutes of it.
Yeah, that's a hard
one. And I didn't need to see more to know that I didn't want to be part of this anymore.
That's it.
So, but again, I do believe that how you build compassion, except there's two ways. We either start giving classes of empathy and compassion at school, which is very possible, which I think should be done anyways for animals or any other beings. Like,
That's a great point. It is not taught ever.
Never.
Unless you're talking about like potentially species are going extinct. You know, it's not really talked about.
No, it's not talked about.
You know, animal welfare and the situation that animals are going through in the animal agriculture industry is so sickening.
Yeah.
The impact that it has on the environment, on the animals, on humanity.
Yeah.
It's a human rights issue, it's an animal rights issue, it's an environmental issue, and it is so taboo to be spoken of anywhere.
Yeah.
Try bringing it up amongst a group of friends. Try bringing it up in the workplace. Try bringing it up in school. You're going to have people jumping down your throats telling you you're crazy vegan, you're an extremist.
I know.
Like people who think like us, like people who look at people like us, they think that we're crazy.
Yep. Do I blame them? I don't think I do. I mean, you see so many things about how meat is important to nutrition for a kid, for a child. So yesterday I did a post, for example, because there was an article recently I'm about to share on Lola Rosa platform by Slate, where they say it is possible to raise a kid vegan. But for some people, we're still there. I have so many friends on Facebook, on my entourage, that will tell me I will still give my kid milk or meat because he needs it for nutrients. And you send them the sources, like, look at this.
The information's out there.
How many studies out there to prove to you that like this is not true? You don't need this.
You don't need it,
But it takes, again, the other thing that really people have problems with is the fact that eating is a social activity. There's, when you have a Maslow pyramid where you have these physical needs, like physiological needs, which is food and shelter.
Yeah.
And you've been taught from very young age that eating meat, drinking milk will make you strong.
Yeah. It's brainwashing.
It's brainwashing, and it takes some time to deconstruct all those things. 100%. I do believe this. I do believe it's an ongoing fight, you know. And the thing that Obama said recently, he was invited by LeBron James to this thing, you know, where they all sit down in a hairdresser's chairs. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. I haven't seen that show. No. And he said something the best. He said, "You secure a win, you consolidate it, and then you go back at it." And I do believe that right now, this is the philosophy we have at Lola Rosa, is that perfection is the enemy of progress. Yeah. If someone tells me tomorrow, I took red meat off my plate, I see it as a win. Is it enough? Yeah. 100% no. Yeah. But it's going to be much easier now to convince you to take the other white meat off your plate than it is like, so I see this as a win. I know that for the movement itself, it can be frustrating, but it's still like thousands of corpses of like murders every single second. Yeah. I know this. Yeah. But if we can actually already like
start to decrease.
Exactly. Yeah. I do believe that tomorrow 1,000 people that will eat one less meal a day with meat is as good or better than 10 going vegan, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm for this because I know what it took me. I do believe that once you take away this sacrifice feeling they could have by not eating meat, you'll develop your compassion. It'll be easier for you to really put their attention on the victim.
Yeah,
you know?
I think if you are reducing consumption because you're becoming more conscious about it and you're becoming more aware of what's happening in these industries, then those baby steps are to me more acceptable because your journey is starting.
Yes.
You're starting to have that new mindset. Yes. And that could easily lead to you living a vegan lifestyle for the rest of your life.
Definitely.
Should you go down the right path? Yeah. Should you keep educating yourself more? Should you be more open-minded? Yeah. You know, but for people who have zero intention of ever changing their life, but like going vegan, but they're still trying to reduce it for personal consumption, to me that has zero effect on anything because
you're right.
Because it's like the truth is, in all reality, we're seeing more vegan products available. We're seeing so many alternatives. We're seeing so many new people joining the movement and who are becoming vegan. However, the numbers when it comes to animal products that are being produced and consumed are still rising.
100%,
okay,
100%.
So it's not, at the end of the day, it's not about people's consumption. It is about a total change of how society views the food system, how society views animal agriculture, and how we start conforming to a more ethical, sustainable way of lifestyle, you know?
And the day that people realize that whatever you do for the animals will come back to you positively for the human race, that when it's make that connection that is not your humans and the animals, it is, first of all, we're animals ourselves.
We're all animals.
And the fact that we have to share this because Earth doesn't need us. Like when I hear people saying, oh, let's take care of Earth, let's protect Earth, Earth will be there in a million years.
Earth will take care of itself.
I don't think so, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really trying to make a connection that you do it for whatever you're doing for yourself as well. You're doing for the human race. You're doing for your grandchildren, for your children, for your nephews, my nieces. My main goal today, and the reason why people are asking me all the time right now with everything going on, do you still have the passion for what you do? Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's passion anymore, to be honest with you. Like our passion with Pascal and Emmerich, my two business partners, has been tested last year, like everyone else.
Yeah, but the pandemic.
But I do believe now it became a duty for me, for my two nephews and my two nieces. I have no kids. I'm single. I have an amazing family. But
ladies, he's single.
But my
had to throw it out there.
Yeah, thank you very much. In case we never know. Yeah. But my nephews and nieces didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be born in probably one of the worst periods of our lives. You know, like over times. You know, like it comes like to Earth. Yeah. And knowing that the life I lived, they might have only 20 years left if we don't act right now.
That's right.
In the best of our possibility, the best capacity, will mean like a shit show for them in like 20 years, 30 years from now. I mean, it's...
And what about future generations? You know, the next generation after the next generation, you know? If you have kids, you're going to have grandkids and their kids. Everyone is being so selfish. They're just living for themselves. They're living for the time being. they're not researching, like to family, if you're a mother or a father and you're bringing home the groceries and you're ordering the food, you have a duty to learn about what's in that food.
Yeah.
And it's been proven now that animal products are direct causes of obesity, heart disease, cancer, diabetes.
Yeah.
You could talk about this for forever. There's doctors advocating for this now. There's a lot of peer-reviewed studies that are showing how bad animal products are on people's health. Now imagine, as parents, you're responsible for your children's health, and you are feeding them this in abundance. This is crazy to me.
I know.
This was the one thing, actually. So my journey started as a health journey. It wasn't about the environment. It wasn't about equity towards animals. It's been about 4 years that I started my plant-based journey. And I stumbled upon a documentary called What the Health. And it was literally talking about the links of animal product diet to disease. And it also talked about these organizations like the Cancer Association, the Heart Disease Association, the Diabetes Association, and how they were manipulating people to continue to eat these products even when they were having these diseases because of their sponsors. Because of their sponsors. So I said, whoa, this is a war against humanity. And I felt as a victim because I dealt with being overweight. I dealt with borderline obesity in my adult life because I was raised vegetarian and then only went on to animal products as a teenager. And then about 10 years into that, I was struggling with obesity. So I could have been a victim. I could have died, for example, because I started eating it in abundance. I got addicted to it, and I thought it was the norm. So to me, it was a war against humanity from a health standpoint, and they wanted people sick because then they're channeling them to the hospitals and into the medical system and into all these drugs that they're giving people, which is a big business for them. So to me, it was just crazy that if you're in a position of responsibility for yourself and for your kids, get educated, learn, read information.
I know.
It's time, and that's why these podcasts are important because hopefully these clips can get out there and get people thinking,
I do believe there's an individual responsibility, but I also wouldn't put everything on the individual itself. I would put it on corporations, I would put it on governments to also do the right things. And we saw a huge shift recently. I don't know, you guys all know that le guide canadien alimentaire, guide alimentaire canadien, where milk and meat had their own section, now are like regrouped in the same section and represent only 15% maybe of what you're supposed to be eating. They're still there.
They took dairy completely off the Canadian food
or I thought they had combined it with meat.
They took out dairy. It's not even part of the Canadian food guide.
Even better. And this is where the governments, corporations, you want to make this journey easier, you want to make this journey shorter and faster for everyone, make decent vegan food available for everyone. At least plant-based, because at the end of the day, if it's plant-based and it's like just to create this sense that you don't need to have animal products in your body to feel satisfied, to feel like this will fucking save the world. Like this is where I'm at right now.
That's what we're trying to do, right? You have a restaurant, I have a food vlog, and we're showing people you want to eat burgers, you want to eat nachos, you want to eat pizza, you want to eat wings, you want to eat ice cream, desserts. The vegan version is there. The plant-based version is there.
There's not one thing right now, and I follow personally a lot of non-vegan chefs on my personal Instagram for inspiration to know what they're doing. There's one restaurant in Chicago called La Linea from Grand Alchatz, the famous chef, three Michelin stars. And more now, I see those vegan things on the menu.
They're incorporating vegan.
Exactly. And they actually learning from vegan chefs that have been working in their own kitchen for the past 10 years that develop such techniques. They're not even known by the most famous chefs that the vegan revolution just started.
That's right.
And the way it's going to go exponential in the next 10 years, I would assume that within the next 10 years, 30% of the food shelves in stores will be vegan or plant-based.
I like to call it the plant-based food revolution. That's my term on it, because veganism is a concept that's so still hard for so many people to grasp. But when you look at foods, so you look at plant-based foods, that's definitely changing. You look at products, you look at makeup, you look at shampoo, soaps, you're seeing that is starting to change. The average person, even if they're not vegan, they look at zoos now, and they look at like these Sea Worlds and all these places, and they can tell, whoa, those animals look sad, they don't want to be there, that's exploitation. You know, so it's funny enough that there's a lot of people who are seeing why these animal agriculture industries are bad for so many reasons. Animal exploitation is bad. So it is going, but the term vegan is still very taboo.
It is very taboo.
It's still very like, whoa, vegan's extreme. You know?
I have an
like,
example for you.
Yeah.
So, we talk about Bumble and all this shit?
You can talk about anything you like, brother.
So I'm on Bumble, and yesterday I'm talking
Bumble's
about...
a dating app, right?
It's a dating app.
I'm out of this world, eh?
Okay.
I'm just on Instagram.
Instagram, then it's like you have 20,000 followers probably, so you're good. I have 200 followers on Instagram, you know? So I have to get other avenues. Anyways, yesterday I'm exchanging with that person, and we started like saying, oh, you know, I'll cook for you, you know? Yeah. This is my move. Anyways, I'll cook for you. And then she said, oh, by the way, I'm vegan. So I see this, I'm like, fuck yeah, you know?
That's crazy.
And then right underneath, before I'm about to send my like fucking hard eyes, whatever, she goes, just kidding.
Wow.
But just to see how even like, and this is why I said to her, oh, you know, I don't like the word vegan anyways. All I said to her was, I eat 100% plant-based diet.
Yeah.
And I don't buy anything where animals were exploited. So
which is vegan, but without saying the word.
I know, and she said, oh no, that's fine, you know, I'm interested in that lifestyle and everything. Yeah. I don't know if I had said I'm vegan, whatever it would have cost. So I'm not even using necessarily the word vegan, not because I do believe it should be a shame. It's just that it's such a political, social movement that some people feel threatened by, because it's, again, going against their own habits, they're going their own like comforts. Exactly. I can't understand why, you know, they would be so close to opening themselves up to this. And I'm trying to be as not judgmental as possible. And so I said, yeah, I eat plant-based foods. I don't eat anything from animals. Yeah. I guess it makes me kinder, you know, something like that. But I don't try and when now people know I'm vegan. I mean, like my close entourage, my staff knows. But even my staff, sometimes like a conversation with one of my waitresses, she goes, oh, but then if one day I bring some like croissant or like whatever, you wouldn't eat it?
If it has some animal products in it. So not meat or something, but just like a byproduct.
I will not. Of course, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I'll ask you not to bring it to the restaurant as well. You know?
Exactly.
But
hold on a second, let me get this straight. So you were talking to someone on the dating app.
Yeah.
And as a joke, she pretended to be vegan because is it an ongoing joke that if you're vegan, guys are gonna run away?
Probably.
Is that what? So that must be what it is.
Yeah.
So she said it as a joke to see your reaction, not knowing that you were vegan. But in the end, she's not vegan either. She was just like, trying to scare you off.
So I started to sad face like this. Like, what the fuck? He started so well, you know?
Yeah.
And then, anyways, like, also, we're still talking. We'll see, like, it was our first...
Hopefully she'll listen to this podcast.
Exactly.
And if she's listening, let her know that.
And then when she comes over one day after we go for coffee or a second or third date, she will have to eat my food. I don't know if it'll be good food. I will not bring food from a restaurant, so I'll cook myself.
You're going to cook? You like cooking? Okay, good.
I think I'm a decent cook.
Yeah.
You know, I'm from France.
Exactly.
But no, I'm kidding. It doesn't make me a good cook. But yes, I love cooking. That's what I can say. Yeah.
So you're right. You're originally from France. So have you found a good vegan cheese that kind of, because you know France is so big on their cheese platters.
This is my also why it was so easy for me. Yeah. I was never a cheese fan to start with. Okay. I was a meat guy. I used to eat my meat like bloody. Like, you know, this is what I had.
It's like crazy, when you think about it.
Yeah. So the one thing that I haven't found yet is a good vegan cheese. Yeah. Now I heard that Boursin, which is a very typical French cheese, came out recently, and I've seen it all over like the social media.
Have their own plant-based.
Boursin, which is now 100% plant-based, so I can't wait to try it.
They changed their whole business?
No. They still have the dairy version, but they have the vegan version.
So they made a vegan line.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. I'm noticing a lot of brands are doing that now, right? Like people, companies who have like dairy products, they're now coming out with the plant-based to stay with the times.
I like it.
To offer an option. It's needed. It's part of the plant-based food revolution.
Exactly.
If we want to get to a vegan world,
and you will not change the devil by. I'm sorry for the word devil, but like you will not change the devil just by telling the devil is bad. You have to kind of like work with the devil at one point, going like let's do this together.
Yeah,
you know,
you trick
give me some more options. Give me some more plant-based. When you realize that your economic thing makes more sense to go fully plant-based. Yeah. Or you know, then at the end of the day, this is what we want. You know, so I'm all up for.
I find it says so much, honestly. I find the fact that all these companies, fast food restaurants, companies do create dairy products or meat products or whatever it is, they all see the trend. This is a good sign for, I think, for the world and for humanity and for the animals that 3-4 years ago, for sure, when I started this journey, it was nowhere where it is now. Nowhere. You'd maybe find one vegan cheese, one vegan this, one vegan that.
Nowhere.
Now you're going into the stores, there's 6 companies who are making vegan chicken nuggets, 6 companies who are making plant-based patties.
It's insane. It's insane.
It's growing. It's growing fast.
Now, the thing that is also happening right now is where you oppose vegan companies versus non-vegans.
Yeah.
And what recently I saw this huge controversy about 2 big brands.
Yeah.
First one was First Impossible Foods, who was tested on like 188 rats, I think it was.
Okay. Yeah.
Versus Beyond Meat, which apparently, okay, and it was again social media. I got to see the information passed by. It was a conversation from Beyond Meat that said that they actually buy real meat. They have a taster that tastes the real meat to make sure their products resembles the real meat. You know what I'm saying?
That's so weird of them to do that.
I know.
Because the people who were owning there, working there, they weren't born vegan, so they would have known.
Yeah. So
that came out recently.
Yeah. So it didn't make the headline that like the Impossible Foods did.
Yeah.
Will I go and buy Impossible Food myself? No.
Yeah.
I will consume it if I'm at a barbecue, someone brought some for me.
Sure.
Or if I'm on the roads, there's an AW, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Will I go out of my way to buy it from the store? No, I won't. But I do believe those options right now are necessary.
Well, 100%.
They're, one of my good friends, Jessica Scott Reed, good friend. She's someone I respect a lot. She's a journalist for the vegan movement. She's now lives in Winnipeg. I'll make sure to tag her in the thing. If one day she comes to Montreal, you would love to have her on your podcast. She writes a lot for the animal cause.
Oh, cool.
And she said she used a quote that I see her use often, which I think is very revealing of what we're going through right now. She said, what used to be necessary evil is just evil now. And back in the day, we didn't know about all those plant-based options. We didn't have all those alternatives.
Yeah. We didn't see what was happening inside of the slaughterhouses. The videos were not out there as much.
In the 50s, 60s, eating meat was one of your main sources in Canada because you didn't have necessarily all the other variety of products you can have now coming from whatever that is.
Didn't have products, didn't have the education, didn't have the information. It wasn't out there.
Exactly. Yeah. And I do believe now that those options, which are plant-based, not vegan, could be seen, I don't like using the word necessarily evil, but they're not perfect.
Yeah.
But do they help? Will they help the movement in the long term? Yeah. I do believe they will.
I believe they will. Yeah, I believe so as well, because you look at fast food industry, you look at processed food industry. This is what students are relying upon. This is what busy families who have working mother, working father, kids in school. Not that many people are cooking stuff from scratch. They are, but they always like to buy their products that they could throw in the oven, throw in the microwave. It was a big thing, So the fact that we have all these plant-based alternatives there now is definitely changing the world a lot, and it needs to be seen as accessible. Because
100%.
Most people, probably 2-3 years ago, if they did try it, they went to the grocery store, they couldn't find anything. They tried to look for restaurants, they couldn't find anything. And the restaurants might not be that good, and they might have been too expensive, and the portions might have been too small. And if you have a bad experience 1 or 2 times with food, sometimes you can get turned off. But now look at it. Look at it. Look at Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. In the major cities, you look at New York, Los Angeles, it is a haven. It is a haven. You look in Europe, in all the major cities now, you'll see an abundance of vegan restaurants. But we have to also understand the smaller cities, the smaller towns, the smaller provinces. What are they getting?
Yeah.
Are they getting the accessibility? So this is why the revolution has to get really going, so that it really starts to spread and it really becomes accessible. Because we're spoiled. I'm spoiled. I feel bad. People are watching my feed from all over the world, and I'm showing them the most delicious food. I'm like, I feel bad because not everyone gets this.
In Montreal especially. And you know what? You're the perfect example of it, but you said you were raised vegetarian and then you went to meat.
Yeah.
So that means that meat still attracts people for certain, for whatever that is.
Yeah.
If people were happy on beans and broccoli, then everyone would be vegan.
Yeah.
We have to realize now that we have to up our game when it comes to what we offer to, again, no matter what will make someone think or consider a vegan lifestyle, if it's for health at first, environment, taste, or whatever that is, let's use every weapon we have in the arsenal
100%.
to make sure that this movement keeps growing.
100%.
This is as simple as this.
I love that.
And I do respect you guys, and I said it, and I'll say it again, that I will want to come one day, because I haven't done these things that you guys do. So it's very easy for me to, as a restaurateur, that pretty much trying to make a living out of it.
That's right.
But there's a lot of things that you guys do that, like, there's no return on it besides like knowing that you're doing some good for the animals.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I said I'll come with you one day, just for me to experience and to know what you guys go through, because I had sometimes. I never had problems with activists, whatever, but sometimes I'm like, this is not the right way to do things. But who am I to judge? Yeah. I never gone through any of what you guys go through when it comes to confrontations with like assholes. Yeah. When it comes to being in front of a slaughterhouse and like hearing the cries or the screams or whatever. Yeah. So for me, it's easy to say, like, to stay in that couch and be like, I wouldn't do it this way, I wouldn't do it this way. So I don't think there's a better way to do activism. Yeah. I do believe like everyone can play a part. I don't believe that every type of activism will work on everyone. Yeah. I do believe that you can be, I know personally, if you come up to me and call me any name, dude, it's not
bad name,
well.
It's not going to work. 100%.
It's not going to go well with
you. You have to be very careful how you approach people.
However, this young lady, this older lady, was a perfect example. The way she came up to me, she's like, I love your fruit. Yeah. But by the way, the fur.
Take off the fur,
That like took me literally 1 second.
100%.
So my first one employee who came up to me very nicely as well. Now this second one, I didn't even look at it and now I see fur on the street. I was like, how can people wear fur?
How can people wear fur? Yeah, fur.
But it took me like one nice intervention from someone.
That's right.
To do it. Yeah. And it's sometimes all it takes. Yeah.
It takes time as activists to learn how to talk to people. And it depends how people react to you. So if you try and be nice to someone, then they get mean, and then you get mean back, it's understandable. But guaranteed, anytime I approach somebody to talk about the fur trim they're wearing or the food that they're eating, I want to come across as the kindest, most gentle, nice person, because I want my message to resonate. Yep. I don't want it to be about my emotions. I'm pissed, I'm angry, I'm heartbroken, I'm sad about what happens to animals. But if I come across with that energy to someone who doesn't know about these things, I'm probably going to turn them off. Yep. So I want to be as nice, as kind, as gentle when delivering my message, and hopefully that will resonate with them, and then I get the result that I want.
But you're kind, but you're firm as well. Yeah. It's very hard for me to, and I know it takes work, it takes practice, and to be firm and kind. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be. I mean, we're buddies, and I think it shows that we're past the business aspect of things. But one of the number one things I noticed in you, and one of the reasons why I reached out to you after I started looking at your videos, and I'll be like, I wish I had met him before. Mm-hmm. I wish I had seen him on the street, because he would have probably turned me faster than I did within 14 years.
That's crazy, yeah.
And it's because this is a type of activism that works with me. Yeah. And it's, I always take the example with my managers and everything, and they'll say like, but how do you know when you're supposed to raise your tone or whatever? And it says, you know what? Think of yourself talking to a kid. If the kid is right next to you, would you rather whisper to him or would you rather shout at him or scream at him? Yeah. Now, if your kid is on the football field, 100 yards away from him, are you going to whisper to him, or are you going to and this is, I think, where people are in life too, trying to sense a little bit where the people stand, how open they are.
Exactly.
Take some fucking talent.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can have the patience or the thing to do it myself. Yeah. But
read the room, see what's going on. And it's actually great that you brought that up, because I felt the same way. Now that I'm vegan and I look back at when I wasn't, I always say I wish there was somebody like me who was just out there every day talking about it. And I believe I would have made the connection. Yeah. And that's who I strive to be now, the person that I wanted to come across when I wasn't vegan, so that I can help people make that connection faster and realize that when you're paying for animal suffering, when you're paying for animal products, whether you're eating them or wearing them, you are directly supporting these industries. Your dollar is the one that is driving these industries. You have to go to sleep at night knowing that if you spent $20 on a hamburger that had a dead cow in it, or you had some chicken wings, you paid for that animal to die. You paid. You are the reason that animal had their throat slit. Now, yes, of course, this is going to happen for the moment, whether you pay for it or not.
Yeah.
But when you do pay for it, that's you signing off.
You
that you're
actively
okay
participate
with it.
in it.
You actively participate,
Yeah.
and you somewhat benefited off of it.
Yeah.
You consuming it for your nutrition. When you can buy beans and lentils and nuts and seeds and grains that can remake everything, even from scratch, from whole food, plant-based.
Yeah.
So it's so important that we just every day keep putting the message out there. And to touch upon, actually, we talk about the accessibility through processed products and restaurants. But you know what the real truth is now? That it took time for, I'm sure, a lot of people to learn. That even from using whole foods, like raw whole foods, soaking them and boiling them and doing whatever, you can remake any of your favorite, most comforting meals. You don't need a boxed product. You don't need stuff to be made for you. You can recreate everything from scratch. And I think that's where we need to really start forcing the education.
I do believe, yes, I agree with this. However, where I do believe that people never really wanted to cook. And this is why you have so many now, like Uber Eats and like that's why those guys are the billionaires right now, because we have less and less time, you know? We're on our fucking phones all the time. We're all like pretending to be busy or to be too busy to do things and this and that. I think it's also reviewing, like reassessing our priorities. I don't think it comes directly from veganism or anything else. We're just really trying to refocusing on what's important. Did this pandemic help? To be honest with you, I'm very pessimistic when it comes to this. I do believe that once we started going out again, everyone will have forgotten about the fucking pandemic and everyone will be back on their phones, everyone will be back to. But we can learn something from this is that we still have time. If we really want to make the time, we still have time. Now, it takes school, it takes education, it takes from the very beginning, at the 3-year-old that can start already, like I have my nephew. And I'm babysitting him on Friday. My sister knows when he's at home, he eats vegan food. I'm not gonna ask you to, like change his diet at home. When he's with Eric, Uncle Rico, he eats vegan food. Does he eat healthy food? No. It's chips, sometimes fries, pizza, whatever, but it's vegan. And the fact that like a kid like this from the start can actually already get accustomed to those textures and those things without the meat. I'm being hopeful for the thing. One of my best friends, Sandra, has 2 vegan. She's fully vegan. Her entire family is vegan. She has two twins, raised vegans.
Beautiful.
Among my friends, one of my best friends from I've known Sebastian for 32 years. Wow. He lives in Toronto. I'm part of that. I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer. I'm not good, but I pretend I am. I play Warzone on PlayStation, and those guys are meat eaters. Like one is originally from the Dominicans, the other one from Haiti. Like my friend is from France. And I do a different type of activism with them. While playing Warzone, like, they talk about what they cook. So I do, whenever they talk about meat or whatever, I send them the cheesesteak sandwich photo. Oh my fucking God, I want this. Dude, there's no meat in this one. Why would you go? Last time I was watching A Day on Planet Earth, or A Day on Life on Planet Earth, whatever, with Sir Alton Borrower, where at one point you see the impact of this oil, that's palm oil.
Palm oil,
And I took a picture of my screen on my TV and I sent it to them. I said, this is what you guys cause when you eat Nutella. So I'm trying different tones with them.
Exactly.
And see what works best.
Exactly.
Okay? Last time I said one, like, he took a picture of his whatever, and I said, I'd like to know the name of this calf before he was killed,
Exactly.
And I'm trying to see.
Seeds.
Exactly,
Seeds,
exactly. Does it work? It does work in a way that, like,
they're raising their consciousness.
Exactly.
And maybe then when they come across a documentary of their own, or they see some footage one day, they'll be like, oh, that's what Eric's always talking about. Now I see it. And that's why planting seeds is, to me, the foundation of activism. Even if you're not going to turn someone vegan, even if you don't have 10 minutes to give them the full spiel, if you have 30 seconds, in 30 seconds, you could plant some seeds that can help people make that connection. And that's why every conversation I have with somebody, and I meet a lot of people, whether I'm walking my dog or they're walking their dog, or I see someone in the street, or I talk to a lot of people. Of course, as a vegan, I have an intention now is to slip in, some information, but I do not ever leave a conversation now without planting some seeds about veganism for health, for sustainability, for the animals. It's like a must for me. And I think it's important.
It is definitely important. There's so much at stake. I'm 43 years old. With my lifestyle,
you look young, by the way. Vegan lifestyle gets you looking mid-30s.
Yeah, fuck you. I don't know how much left. Like I would say that based on my lifestyle for the first like 25 years, I shouldn't be living too long. But that's a joke, hopefully.
Yeah. I know.
But I'm thinking of my
damage
nephews and nieces.
to my liver.
Yeah, nephews and nieces, and I'm like, fuck. They're 3 years old from like 8 to 3. Like, what is it going to lead them? You know.
That's right. Yeah.
And they cannot make decisions on their own. And this is parents also have to understand that serve them a piece of meat could have an impact in the future. You know, like this is one
on
of the
their
things
health
where
and on the future
if you don't think about the animals, just think about what this piece of meat will do to them, whether it's health-wise, environment-wise, whatever that is in the future.
100%.
So then you get to, and once you say, okay, now you're right, but now, okay, so you got this for your kid, you got it for yourself. Now think of the human being, like the being, sorry, not human being,
the
but
victims.
the being, that the victims, you know, like.
Yeah.
This connection now,
100%.
You know, it's
100%.
I do believe that everything can, in a way, kind of work together.
Yeah,
you know?
and I agree because as an example of that, people see animals who are dying for food.
Yeah.
They don't have a connection to those animals.
No.
So you'll see people who have dogs and cats and other animals, as I say companion animals. I don't even use the word pet because pet kind of seems like just ownership and dominion. So I say companion animals, and they love their companion animals. They love their dogs like family. They're in the Christmas cards.
Yeah.
They're in the holiday cards. They treat them like their children, yet they don't make the connection that pigs and cows and goats and chickens and turkeys and all animals are all sentient. They're all unique. They all have emotions.
Yeah.
They all feel happiness. They all feel joy. They feel sadness. They are just like us in so many ways.
Yeah.
And I know this for a fact because I've visited so many animal sanctuaries where I spend time with so many types of animals who were rescued from these industries or rescued in general.
Yeah.
And every single animal that I've ever met, every pig, every cow, every one has all been unique and different, and they reacted to my energy differently. Some wanted me to pet them, some didn't. Some were full of life, some just wanted to be on their own. Some just wanted to relax and stay in the sun, some wanted to be interacting with me. So every animal is unique, and for anyone listening, I hope that they can understand that not animals are all the same, you know, and they're not meant to be commodified.
Yep.
You know, so we have to stop breeding them into existence to murder them. This is bad, and most people probably don't know the age of these animals. You know,
when you think how fucked up that is, we just said, like how it is that we literally give birth, like
forced the birth
to kill them 3 months later.
Yeah,
like this is like if you think about the entire logic behind it, it's fucked up.
It's crazy.
It's fucked up.
Talking chickens is 35 days old. 35 days is a baby. Doesn't matter what species you are. You're 35 days old.
Yeah.
Imagine that people and chicken is the most consumed animal product probably in the world.
Yeah.
And people, you know, are not realizing that they're paying for babies to die. You know, it's very sad.
And you know, one thing I like to do is that, because you talk about sanctuaries. One thing I'll probably do as well is that, because I know I heard a lot, two of them safe and RR, Refugee RR. Mm-hmm. But I will bring one day my little nephew at 3 years old.
Yeah.
You know, because he has already, at this age, he already can process like what is alive, what is, you know, he has a cat at home, you know? Yeah. And I do also believe that one type of activism that should be done is really show and create a connection right from a very early age with those animals, you know? Yeah. Because if you do this, and if you tell I can tell you that I'm not proud of it, but the other day I asked him, I was like, what did you eat? You know? And he said, maman m'a fait du poulet, whatever. And there's a show he watches with this like chicken that has a name. Yeah. I said, oh, she cooked you? Yeah. And he's like, no, that wasn't him.
Yeah, it wasn't him.
But just to show you that even at 3 years old, they can make this connection.
Of course.
You know? And probably even better and easier than we can do as adults, because we don't have this like years and years of like brainwashing.
We've been conditioned to believe that animals don't have feelings and that they're not important. And that's what's crazy also, because as children, you're naturally compassionate towards animals. You see animals, you want to pet them, you want to kill them. They're so interesting to you. And then somewhere along your journey of life, and you grow from a child into a teenager, and you see the conditioning that happens, that you forget about that. Yeah. But you know what? Even at 35 years old, you can watch Finding Nemo, and you're going to be sad thinking about the fish, thinking that they have characters.
That's true.
And people will be sad about all these movies and cartoons where it has animals in them, and people will cry during them, and then right after have no idea that they're going home to put an animal on their plate, and that animal had the same emotions, you know. So we have to just keep making that connection for people. No,
it's I know it's frustrating. I know it takes time. But as I said, like I do believe it's important that So obviously I'm a restaurateur. I'm an entrepreneur. It's whenever now a new vegan business opens. I'm super excited. And then I'm like, oh fuck, another competition.
It's gonna take away from yourself. That's the natural.
But at the same time,
selfish
I'm happy.
thing you were talking about before.
No,
but I'm sure you're very happy.
I'm very happy. Like there's the burger place we're just talking about. I can't wait to go there.
The new burger place in Montreal looks really good.
There because we'll go together.
We'll go together. That's good. And, we all support each other. I think as a community, I want to actually. That's what I try and do is connect more owners and entrepreneurs together. We can all grow together. There's so much power when we all come together. There's nothing needs to be competitive. Because we have so much work to do.
I couldn't agree with you more.
For every 100 regular restaurants,
much room for everyone.
Exactly. For every 100 non-vegan restaurants, there's only one vegan restaurant. So we need to keep growing. And through having your restaurant, you're going to create more plant-based people, and then all the restaurants are going to thrive. All the industries are going to thrive.
And I go to a competition very often. Like I'm free advertising for you, Green Panther. I love Green Panther.
I love it. That was one of the first vegan restaurants that I was going to.
I order from them like less recently because my money situation is not the greatest, but I do spend a lot of money at Green Panther.
They make delicious falafels, by the way. Their falafels are impeccable.
I think that I don't know the owner, Pascal. My business partner knows him better, Haim, but I know that I think his recipe is secret. I think he keeps it. I think he makes it himself still. You would have to check.
Their falafels are green on the inside, which I love the green falafels. Whenever you eat a falafel that's green, and Falafel Yoni has it, and Pantelvelt has it, and you bust open a falafel and you see that green inside, there's something special about them. I don't know.
Stop talking about competition.
We love it though. We love it. And funny enough, I actually really enjoy this episode a lot with you because we meet a lot and we do business together and we do advertisements for your company and stuff. And this is the first time that we've really had a discussion outside of business. For the most part, a long one, and you really had me fired up today to talk about, because I'm very passionate about animal rights and about human rights and about veganism and everything, you know, so I really, really enjoyed this episode. But unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to get into Lola Rosa, your restaurant, that much, and I wanted to take this time to give you this platform as well. You guys do stuff a little bit different than the average vegan restaurant, I've noticed. I'll give my take on it. So the average vegan restaurant, they're gonna have their niche. They're gonna have their burgers, they're gonna have their sandwiches, they're gonna have their pizzas, they're gonna have like the favorites that they offer to people. But Lola Rosa, I've noticed, and you guys do a weekly theme where you showcase food from a different culture every week almost. And even what you're showcasing within that culture is not the normal foods that you normally see. So talk to us a little bit about how you're trying to change the game with that.
So when the pandemic hit, obviously, I hate this word, but like everyone uses it, we had to reinvent ourselves. We didn't reinvent shit, we just like adapted. I would prefer this term. And the restaurants were closed. We said we still have to keep serving our food to our customers one way or another. We came up as a team, and this is where I cannot be like happier to have like not only my business partners but the staff that I have. It's gonna sound cheesy, but like without them right now, dude, I would be in a fucking hole. Like a lot of them supported us just by their presence, just by being there. And so Lola Rosa has always been about showing that you can have a vegan version of any dish around the world. So let's try instead of focusing on French cuisine, which is our roots, because 3 of us are French from France. We try and showcase different cultures. In order to be authentic and to respect the culture, we also try to find someone from that culture that will guide us or give us like at least inspiration or great recipes from their own like background.
I love that.
So Apple, I broke my balls like a few weeks ago talking to me about Giro. So we have a Greek team box next week that you guys will get.
Greek box for our producer. Third Media.
So we have a box. So I actually called my best friend Eddie Paspialaris. think is
Greek, yeah.
a little
Very
bit
Greek
too. And he said, I need you to give me your best, like, the thing that when you go back to Greece that you love eating that could veganize or will be vegan.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring a different experience every week through a different box.
Yeah.
Okay. Through our online grocery store called Larsa Markets.
Yeah.
And this week was this week is going to be St. Patrick's.
Yeah.
So we actually have a former dishwasher that's Irish that gave us 2 of her family recipes.
Okay.
The week before was a Japanese box.
I had the Japanese box.
Yeah. So Yuji actually, whose mom or dad is Japanese, went up uses his own culture, cooked us the Japanese food.
Yeah.
So we're trying to really showcase that, to show that vegan food is not only burgers or bowls or whatever. Vegan food is everything, and I hate calling vegan food. What just don't call it? You have to be kind of.
It's just food.
It's food.
Yeah.
It's food with no animal products.
It's real food from the sun, from the ground, and from the trees.
And so this is our take on it right now. The menu also is going to change for Rosa because of the pandemic. We're going to try to give each location its own identity. So from now on, Milton will still be the place where Apo will have his cheesesteak.
Loves it.
And more like takeout food like this, food you want to eat with your hands.
Cafe-style sandwiches, burgers,
Park is going to be a wine bar with shareable plates.
Cool.
Place des Arts is the brasserie. So we want to try to go with cassoulet, with bouche à la reine, with anything that you find in a French brasserie.
Yeah. Brasserie means bar, right?
Brasserie, no. Brasserie is a big restaurant, high volume, fast paced.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. It's brasserie parisienne. It's very French are full of shit when it comes to their names for restaurants and everything. We have a name for every type of food.
Yeah.
And then William is a counter to go.
I love that. So for the listeners and viewers who don't know, you guys have 4 locations. 4 locations.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The last one being Place des Arts.
All around downtown.
Downtown, Mall Montreal, Park Mylands, and Plateau Myland, and McGill Ghetto.
Love that. So tons of options for Uber Eats and all the other delivery services. You have the online where you have your weekly boxes.
Yeah.
And of course you could just stop in somewhere and pick up some delicious food like I did today for lunch.
Exactly.
And I had an absolute feast, and I had an absolute pleasure of having you today
on
pleasure. The show. For all our viewers and listeners out there, thank you for tuning in. This was episode 9 of the Vegan as Fuck podcast. Big shout out to our sponsors, Rise Kombucha and Vegan Nation, and of course our production company, Third Eye Media. Until next time, peace. Whew. Fuck, that was wild, bro. That was good.